is what it is. Shalom Israel. All praises, honor and glory first and foremost to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is a true name of the Heavenly Father, right, in the pure Hebrew, and Yahweh Shai is the true name of the only begotten Son of the world called Jesus. Alright, so to the men of Great Millstone, pushing the gospel sincerely, right, going out there prophesying in the streets and doing these lessons, uploading them on a daily basis, shalom, in efforts to feed the sheep. To the men of to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, shalom. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone indeed. And to the sisters, that will be Aqua, who believe, along with the other men who hear and believe the gospel, that aren't necessarily prophets or teachers, but they do believe in the doctrine, shalom. Yeah, and based on the clip that we just watched, I'm just going to entitle this lesson, People Are Racist, So Is the Lord. Yeah. I mean, in order to begin, you get the meaning of the word racist.
I can draw your weirdest ideas.
Oh, shut up. Alright. So the meaning of the word racist, it says a person who believes in or supports racism. A person who believes that a particular race is superior to others and discriminates against other races. We don't need any more than that. And we saw in the video that was not a prank. It was a social experiment. Now they say it was a prank. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that prank revealed the true nature of how people really feel about the darker skin races. You understand? Now when you look at the flag in the background, you could see that that was France. Based on the color of the flag, that was the country that they call France. And we saw the so-called black man, and then we saw the so-called white man pretending to be blind. And obviously the people were more receptive to the so-called white man than the so-called black man. As a matter of fact, they weren't even receptive. And the reason is obvious. Right? Because of the skin color. You see me? And all of this stem from that black-white construct, that was created by the so-called white man to gain the upper hand, to distinguish himself, and to gain privilege. You understand? And let's grab the meaning of that.
All in all, we just laugh and have a good time.
I don't give a fuck. Alright. Privilege. And when you go into the etymology of the word privilege, it tell you that it is what? Let's see. In favor, ordinance or law against or in favor of an individual. When you go down into the etymology, that's where it comes from. Private law. Right? And it says there, law, ecclesiastical law, now chiefly historical, an exemption from certain laws granted by the Pope. Now, this one looks better. A particular benefit, a particular benefit, advantage or favor, a right or immunity enjoyed by some, but not others. See that? A prerogative, preferential treatment. That's what racist. That's what it is. That's what the word privilege means. You understand? And they have this thing that they call what? White privilege, right? And it is undeniable. Nobody can deny it because it exists. And this proves, that the whole equal opportunity or we are all one people bullshit is a damn lie. But it's okay though. It's fine because what? The Heavenly Father did separate people. And we can just bring up the account now in Genesis 11. Right, and we can start from verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. That language is the Hebrew, right? The Lashawan Kwadash, the holy tongue, the pure Hebrew language, right? Because that is the language of the earth. That's a natural language. You understand? So we don't need to go any further. That's pretty much a point that I wanted to hit. The earth was speaking one language, right? And we know when the Lord scatter, when you read go down at the chapter, it tell you that, the Heavenly Father confused the people that were building the tower and him scatter, the people, right? The people he gave them, confused them with different languages, and each one of them that spoke the same language went according to their own kind, right? And that led to us having different languages. And the Hebrew language was specially preserved for the chosen line of people, right? Which is all by design. And you see, it is expected and it's quite understandable that nations will, treat people that they consider to be outlandish differently than those of their own kind. It's natural, right? It's only natural. The issue, however, is actually the hypocrisy of the so-called white race, telling people that everybody is equal, yet still they do the opposite. The track record show everything, that we need to know concerning how Esau is a hypocrite, right? You don't tell us that everyone is equal and all for one, all for all, but then you're doing the opposite. You're bending laws to your benefit. You're treating people that are not so-called white, as less than you, right? And then what's that in the Constitution? What's that in the laws of America that a so-called black man is 3/5 of a man? You don't even recognize the so-called black man as a whole man, And that shows off that perpetual hatred, that they have for Jacob, right? Especially the Southern Kingdom, the so-called Negroes, and the other Israelites, Latinos, and the Native Americans. All of them are stigmatized by the white race. They stigmatize Native Americans. They stigmatize the Latinos, calling them brown people, and the worst stigma goes to the so-called black man, so-called Negroes. You understand? Niggas, you're black, However, the so-called white race isn't the most racist in the universe, and that's very interesting. It's quite interesting, as a matter of fact. See? Enough talking. Let's get the scriptures. Let's get Amos, the 3rd chapter. I can show them people what are really racist. Amos chapter 3 verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. You see that? So the Heavenly Father is punishing the nation of Israel for their sins. We know our Father operates when he commands to his kids. If a man's child and his neighbor child do folly, the father is going to whoop his child's ass. You understand? He's not going to beat the neighbor child, for the most part. But he's going to whoop his child ass. That's what the Heavenly Father is going to do. Well, and that's what he has been doing over the years. You understand? We'll go off in punishment for iniquities, and we're still feeling the effects of it even now, because we're still in iniquity, right? Still in iniquity. And it gets even colder than that. So right then and there we can see the distinguishing factor, right, concerning the children of Israel. And it gets colder. Let's get 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter. We can read from verse 53. Just to bring out the point, really. Alright, so this is 2nd Ezra 6 and verse 53. Upon the 6th day thou gavest commandment unto the earth, that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. And after these Adam also, who thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing but be like unto spittle. When you look up that word spittle, it's just spit, right? And has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So you see, as for the other people, you understand, the world was made for the sake of the Israelites, really. In the grand scheme of things, the world was made for Yahushua and the Israelites to enjoy. The other people that come from Adam are, referring to the other nations, right? And the Lord compared them to what? The abundance of them like unto a drop that falleth from a vessel, meaning them not worth shit, in other words, right? Cold cut. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen are the nations outside of the Israelites, which have ever been reputed as nothing, see, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, right? Jacob get the blessing of the firstborn. You know, he supplanted Esau. You understand? Thy only begotten and thy fervent lover are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, the Israelites, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? Until Yahweh shall come and lift the curses off us. You understand? One more. We could go Exodus, the 4th chapter. Right? I'm going to read from verse 21. And the Lord said unto Moses, you know, just getting to the point, when thou goest to return into Egypt, see that thou do all those wonders before Pharaoh, because Pharaoh was holding the Israelites captive, right? And Lord, I get ready for raise up Moses to send him down there, which I have put in thine hand, but I will harden his heart, that he shall not let the people go. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. See the proof? Esau was the firstborn, yes, but guess what? The Lord chose Jacob and renamed Jacob Israel, which in the Hebrew is Yasharallah, which means he prince power. Yashar-Allah, he prince power. He's a prince of the power, right? Nobody can beat them scriptures here. And I say unto thee, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. Yeah. So you see that now? That's the point. So Esau's little racism, you know, his little proud racism that he has, you know, it holds no real weight in comparison to how Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai feel for Israel against these heathens. You know? That's like comparing a strand of DNA, not a DNA, you know, a string of DNA deeper down inside of the DNA. A string of DNA to the expanse of the whole universe. That's a comparison. You know, Esau is not as racist as their heavenly father. And when Yahweh Shai returned, especially after that 1,000 year period, you know, when Esau get done away with after that, the nations will dwell individually among themselves in their own allotted lands, right? And they will still serve the number one nation, whom Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai chose, and that's the nation of Israel, right? So the Lord are the ultimate racist. Hey, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is the ultimate racist, right? Undisputed. Kal halayam la Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Lord willing the souls edifying. Shalom.